Hello friends, I am Desla Madam. I am going to teach you the subject Science and Technology Part 1. Our first chapter is gravitation. In this chapter, we learn about gravitation, circular motion and centripetal force, Kepler's laws, Newton's universal law of gravitation, acceleration due to the gravitational force of the earth, free fall, and last, escape velocity. Friends, you have already learned about gravitational force. Gravitational force is the universal force and it acts not only between the two objects on the earth but it also exerts on any two objects in the universe. As we know that the concept of gravitation was first discovered by the scientist Newton, and there is a story behind it that he was falling below the apple tree and an apple falls down on the surface of earth, and then he wondered why all the apples falls in downward direction, vertically downward direction, and why not in horizontal or in vertically upward direction. Then after very much thought, he was concluded that this force, this force is directed towards the center of earth, that is vertically in downward direction. As you have already learned about force and motion. Force, that is the physical quantity which is required to accelerate any object or which is required to change the speed as well as to change the direction of motion of an object. And motion, that is the change in the position of the object with respect to surrounding. There are many types of motion: circular motion, linear motion, oscillatory motion, circular motion, oscillatory motion. These are periodic motions. There are many types of motion. Projectile motion, in which one of the motion, that is circular motion. That is the motion of object along the circumference of the circle is called as circular motion. For circular motion, centripetal force is necessary. One of the force acting on the object which performs circular motion, and that force is called as centripetal force. And that force is acted on the object which is moving along a circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle. The meaning of centripetal, that is center seeking, that is towards the center of circle. One thing must be remembered, that centripetal force is necessary for circular motion. Without centripetal force, circular motion is not possible. Now, Kepler was a German scientist. He was German astronomer as well as mathematician. And he was stated his three laws of planetary motion. Now, the first law stated by Kepler, that is, the orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. So first, what is ellipse? There is a orbit in figure. That orbit is called as ellipse. We know the ice cream cone. If we cut that cone in inclined plane, at that time the curve obtained, that curve is called as ellipse. And we know that in our solar system, different planets moving around sun in different orbits, and that orbit of a planet is an ellipse with sun at one of the foci. Each ellipse has two focal points, and that each focal point is called as focus, as it has two foci, and sun is situated at one of the foci. Now the second law stated by Kepler, that is the line joining the planet and the sun, sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. Now in figure 1.4, red dot, it is the position of sun and the position of planet is at A. After some time it is moving along that orbit and reach at point B. After some time it is at C. After some time it is at D. The position of planet is now at F and last it is given in figure it is at F. Suppose small t, it is time taken by planet to reach from A to B. In the same time, that planet covers the distance C to D. In the same time, it covers the distance E to F. Because it covers equal area in equal interval of time. See that figure? In the figure, area ASB is equal to area CSD is equal to area ESF. That is the line joining the sun and position of the planet. It sweeps equal area in equal interval of time. It is the second law stated by Kepler. Now the third law stated by Kepler, that is the square of the period of revolution of planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. Now first, what is period of revolution? Period, that is the time taken by planet to complete one revolution around sun. To complete one revolution around sun, that period, that time is called as period of revolution and generally it is denoted by capital T. According to this law, this t square, that is the square of period of revolution, is directly proportional to mean distance of the planet. Again see the figure 1.4. The distance when the planet is at different position, then the distance of that planet from the sun is different. And so small r, it is the average distance of the planet from the sun. And according to this law, t square is directly proportional to r cube. And so t square upon r cube is equal to constant. It is equal to k. These are the three laws of planetary motion stated by Kepler. Now the next law, that is Newton's universal law of gravitation. That is, according to this law, every object in the universe attracts every other object with a definite force, and this definite force, it is directly proportional to the product of masses of that two objects, and it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. It is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Now in figure, there are two objects of mass m1, masses m1 and m2 are given. Violet colored object is m1 and green colored object, it has mass m2. Now small d, it is the distance between them. Now this distance is measured between their centers or between their center of masses. Now here that both the objects are spheres and so this small d, this distance is distance between their centers of the spheres. Now according to this Newton's law of gravitation, the force of attraction or gravitational force between that two objects F is directly proportional to m1, m2. It is inversely proportional to 1 upon d square. If we combine both the equations, then F is directly proportional to m1 m2 upon d square. If we remove the proportionality symbol, then F is equal to capital G m1 m2 upon d square. Where capital G, it is the constant of proportionality and is called the universal gravitational constant. because the value of capital G is constant everywhere in the universe, and so it is called as universal gravitational constant. Now observe the equation number 2. F is equal to capital G m1 m2 upon d square, and from this equation it is clear that if the distance between the two objects increases, at that time the gravitational force decreases, or if the masses of that object increases, at that time that force is also increases. Now if we convert this equation number 2, that is capital G is equal to F, now this d square become F into d square upon m1 m2, and so the SI unit of this gravitational constant, it is Newton meter square per kilogram square, and the value of G was first experimentally measured by the scientist Henry Cavendish, and its value is equal to 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. It is the value of this universal constant. Now in this figure, D is the distance between their centers. Now if the both bodies of any shape, at that time the distances between that object, it is measured between the distances their center of masses. So what is center of mass? Center of mass of an object, it is the point at which the whole mass of the object can be supposed to be concentrated, and so understand this concept, center of mass. Center of mass is the point at which whole mass of that object it is concentrated. Now if the object is moving in a circle with a constant speed, then that motion it is called as uniform circular motion, because it is moving with constant speed, and so it is called as uniform circular motion. And one of the force acting on that object, it is called as centripetal force. As we learned the definition of centripetal force, that is it acts on the object which is moving along the circle and is directed towards the center of circle. Now if m is mass of any planet, v is velocity of that planet, and r is the distance of the planet from the sun, at that time the value of this centripetal force acting on that planet is equal to mv square upon r. Capital F, that is centripetal force, is equal to mv square upon r, where m is mass, v is velocity of the planet, and small r, it is the distance of planet from the center from the sun. As we know that the speed of the planet, we can also express it in the period of revolution, that is in terms of capital T. As we know that speed is equal to distance upon time, that is velocity is equal to distance upon time. Now the distance travelled by the planet in one revolution is equal to perimeter of the orbit, and it is equal to 2 pi r. Perimeter of the orbit is equal to 2 pi r, where r is the distance of the planet from the sun.